Grandmother Marina Petrovna used to live with her granddaughter in her small apartment, constantly working to take care of her and make her happy. Her pension was not enough for her, so she had to work in a store while leaving her 4-year-old grandson with the neighbor's children. When Grandma comes back in the evening, she's very tired, but Masha sits next to her and helps her with the housework. The grandmother wanted her granddaughter to become a successful young woman in the future, so she'd sit and tell her useful stories, teach her to write and read, and advise her to be good and treat everyone kindly. There was a man named Simon Petrovich in the apartment next door to the one where the grandmother lived. The man liked to visit the grandmother at her house in order to talk with her and reassure Masha's condition. The man, who'd been working as a doctor for 30 years, has been a fan of Marina Petrovna for a long time, as she was smart and beautiful when she was young. However, he was hesitant to woo her until Mikhail Alexandrovich came and married her, but the latter died 3 years ago. That's why Simon went to the grandmother and sits with her, because he feels comfortable when he talks to her. Simon Petrovich used to love Masha very much, as he played with her and called her to go with him to his house and brought her gifts for every occasion. The man who lived alone in his house was bored because his wife abandoned him years ago and left him with her lover abroad. The only thing that was bothering Marina Petrovna is that the children make fun of her granddaughter when she plays with them outside because she has no parents. This is why the girl asks her grandmother when she returns home about her parents, and why they left her and disappeared. But the grandmother tries to calm her and tell her that this is not important and she'll be fine with her. One day, while Masha was sitting in the kitchen with her grandmother eating dinner, Marina Petrovna suddenly fell to the ground and lost her ability to move completely. Then Masha got up from her place and tried to help the grandmother to get up, but she was not able to. Then she was terrified and went to Uncle Simon to tell him what happened. Fortunately, Simon Petrovich was not working that day, and he immediately came to check on the grandmother. And when he noticed that her condition was unstable, he called an ambulance, and he and Masha escorted her to the hospital. The grandmother's condition was serious. She suffers from liver problems, but she was stable when Simon and his medical team took care of her condition. The doctor decided to leave her there in the hospital to recover, and then he and Masha returned to the house to sleep there if they would return to visit her the next day. The smart girl was noticing the strength of the relationship between her grandmother and Uncle Simon, and told him when the latter was covering her to sleep that she realizes that he loves her grandmother, and asked him about the reason that prevents him from marrying her. However, the man, who remained amazed at what the little girl said, kissed her on the forehead, asked her to sleep well, and then left for his room. The girl considers Uncle Simon to be her real grandfather. She loves him and enjoys spending time with him a lot. Grandmother Marina Petrovna knew that her granddaughter would be as safe when accompanied by the good man. Simon had to go to work in the morning, but he did not want to leave Masha alone, so he called on his mother to come to his apartment and stay with her until his return. Simon's mother, Grandmother Lyuba, is very good, but she's been married 5 times and divorced 5 times in her life. She does not get along well with men and has her own philosophy of life. That's why she eventually decided to continue her life alone and visit her only son, Simon, at his home. She dreamed that one day her grandchildren would play in front of her, but fate did not want Simon to have children. That's why she stayed near him, and despite his 50 years of age, she still considered him young and visited him to be sure of his condition. In those days, Grandma Lyuba used to take Masha with her to the playground and buy her ice cream. Lyuba was aware that her son had been in love with Irina Petrovna for years, and he'd not yet forgotten her. Hence, she urged him every time to woo her, telling him that she was still 48 years old and they could enjoy the rest of their lives together. However, the son was hesitant and told her every time that he'd try to be clear about his love for her, but he did not have the courage to do so. Simon kept visiting the grandmother in the hospital and constantly monitoring her condition until she was completely cured, and then he brought her home and sat with her, his mother, and the little Masha. Meanwhile, the little girl approached her grandmother and asked her why she should not live with Uncle Simon because he loves her. Meanwhile, everyone remained in shock and stopped talking. But Grandma Lyuba quickly burst into laughter and asked the little girl to be silent, while Irina Petrovna and Simon Petrovich's face reddened. The girl stopped talking for a moment, then said again to her grandmother that she knew that she was the reason preventing her from getting married, and that she was spending all her time caring for her. The girl very much wanted to see her grandmother and Uncle Simon together, so she tried to make a plan to bring them together. She kept thinking about the appropriate way to do that, and then a surprising idea occurred to him. She was aware that New Year's Day was approaching, and there were only a few days left, so she decided to ask Santa Claus, who fulfills the aspirations on New Year's Day, to fulfill her dream. On the night of December 31st, Masha, with her grandmother, Uncle Simon, and her mother, Yulia, celebrated New Year's Eve, and she got a large number of beautiful gifts in that evening from the 3. Then the girl went out the door and waited there. It was freezing cold and it was snowing profusely. And while Simon and his mother were at the door, they noticed that Masha was waiting for something at the door and asked her to enter because it was so cold. Then the little girl told him that she would not sleep until she met Santa Claus so that he could fulfill her only dream. Simon and his mother left for their apartment, but he kept thinking about the poor girl who would stay there all night, where he wore a dress similar to Santa Claus, put on a false white beard and glasses, pretended to be the man urging wishes on New Year's Day, and approached the girl to ask her about her dream. Masha was very happy when she saw the man in the red suit approaching her, and she immediately ran to his bosom and then told him that she had one dream that she wanted him to fulfill for her. When she asked him about him, the girl said that she's well aware that Uncle Simon and her grandmother love each other, but each of them refuses to be frank with the other, so she dreams that she'll see them as husband and wife soon. The man was surprised by what the girl said and laughed with her and told her that he would try to fulfill her dream, and then he hugged her and left. Simon entered his room and kept thinking about what the girl had said. He realizes that she's right, but he was afraid that Irina Petrovna would refuse to marry him and put him in an embarrassing situation. After the man thought about the issue well, he decided to be frank with the woman he'd always loved with his sincere feelings towards her, thus relaxing psychologically and achieving the dream of the orphan little girl whom he loves and always wants to see her happy. The man was not brave enough to confront Irina Petrovna and decided to call her. When Simon spoke to Irina on the phone, he was unable to say the words he wanted to say. He asked her to meet after an hour in the garden opposite the building in which they lived, which was what the woman accepted. Irina thought that the man wanted to tell her something about her health, and she was very tense. So as soon as she met him in the garden, she asked him to tell her about her health. But the man surprised her when he told her that she was in good health and that she should not worry. Simon remained silent for a while, then told Irina that he'd come to tell her about an important matter, where he told her that he had noticed that the relationship that binds them is not just a friendship. Rather, it goes beyond that, for his feelings used to tell him every time to tell her that he loved her. But he was hesitating because he noticed that the woman is sponsoring her granddaughter and doesn't have the time to think about her life, even though she's not grown old and still has life ahead of her. He declared to her that he loved her for a long time, and that he regretted that he did not ask her for her hand to marry when they were young and studying together at university. That's why he wants to make up for what he missed and to enjoy together what is left of their lives together and take care of the girl, Masha. The man used to speak and look into the eyes of the woman he'd always loved, as he possessed the courage of this woman and decided not to take his eyes off him and keep looking into her eyes until he finishes his words. The man noticed that the woman was very affected by his words, so he grabbed her by the hand and told her that they both needed the other. He needs a woman to talk to and take care of him at home, and she needs a man to stand by her and help take care of the girl. Finally, he promised her that he would always stay by her side and stop talking. Irina kept shedding tears and told Simon that she too had sincere feelings, but she could not marry him because she took care of Masha and did not want to be distracted by marriage. Then she asked the man for excuse. Simon looked at her and told her that on the night of the year he came to the girl in the form of Santa Claus, and he found her sitting in front of the door, and when she asked about her dream, she told him she wanted to see them married because she loves both of them and wants to live among them. The man offered Irina to stand in front of Masha and ask her about her dream, and then she'll confirm what she said. Then he grabbed her by the hand and left to Irina's house, and there they found the girl playing with her doll. And as soon as she saw them together, she came quickly with them and hugged them, and said that Pope Noel had fulfilled her dream. Meanwhile, Simon smiled with Irina and assured her that their presence together was the best solution to make Masha happy. Then she grabbed him by the hand, hugged him, and told him in a low voice that she'd been dreaming of that moment for several years, and she was very happy to be with him. The man called his mother, Yulia, who was shocked when she heard the news and rushed to celebrate with little Masha. Days later, the two had a party in which their relatives and friends attended, married each other, and moved to Uncle Simon's house. Everyone was happy with this marriage, especially Masha, who congratulated her grandmother and Uncle Simon, who later called him my uncle, and she remained happily living with them.